I recently made a video about off-grid and powering electrical appliances off-grid, like air fryers and toasters, kettles, that kind of thing. And I showed that in my setup, my off-grid setup, I use the Allpowers S2500. And yeah, it went down really well, that video. And the other day, Allpowers got in touch and said, hey, we noticed you use our old product. Would you like to try out our new product, the R2500? So yeah, here's my first thoughts and a little review about the R2500 and also the little, I wouldn't say little actually, quite big 400 watt folding solar panel from Allpowers too. So the folding solar panel by Allpowers is quite a nice little bit of kit, although it does weigh quite a lot. So be prepared for that, but it does stow away quite neatly. But yeah, coming in at around about sort of 21 kilos, that's a hefty panel, but it's good quality as well. One thing I did notice, even though we're now in the middle of sort of September, getting towards October, the angle and the setup of the panel produced a very good output. It's a 400 watt rated panel, and absolutely produces 400 watts and very close to, like I say, given the fact that it's not exactly sort of the perfect weather conditions anymore for solar, it did really well. The way that it's set up and the little legs and everything that pop out get you a very good angle for maximizing that solar charge back into your power pack. So let's run through the front. Obviously you've got 12 volts connections, the barrel connections, and a 12 volt cig lighter connection, 4 USBs and 2 USB-Cs, and then 4 AC outlets or mains outlets, and then a little screen, you know, that'll show you its state of charge, how long it's going to take roughly to charge, or how many hours it's got left, or how many minutes it's got left if you're discharging it, the percentage of the battery, and it'll also show you whether there's Bluetooth or Wi-Fi connectivity as well. So the display does quite well at giving you a lot of information about the state of charge and what's going on inside. Design wise, you know, it's a funky looking thing. It's got some nice carry handles on the side there. It is heavy. It's about 30 kilos heavy, but obviously it's packing a punch. So let's go through tech specs. Obviously this is the 2500 model, and that means it's got 2500 watt inverter inside. So you can run, you know, a couple of air fryers, or an air fryer, a kettle, and you know, like the little cooking pot I've got, and cook something in the air fryer, boil a kettle for some gravy or mashed potato or something like that, and then fry something in a little pot. It's going to cook a full meal for you. So yeah, I think that's enough power, like I say. And if you do want to run it off grid, like I say, it'll run enough of your appliances at home that, you know, if you are off grid for a few hours, if there's a power cut or whatever, then it will help you, you know, get through the day as normal as you would expect. If you were to use it for camping and cooking and things like that, obviously you can run a 12 volt compressor fridge there, some LED lights there, you can charge all your phones and appliances and things like that there, and that's where you would put in your, you know, electrical cooking appliances in there, and that should easily last a weekend of use, especially if you can get a solar panel to charge it back up again. So it's roughly 2016 watt hours, which means it's roughly also, if you convert that into 12 volt, like sort of campervan motorhome electric powers, it is around about 160-ish amp hour. So yeah, the battery inside there is LiFePO 4 latest technology, which does also give it 3,500 charges, and that's from sort of like, you know, low charge, like under 20% to 100%. After you've done that many charges, they're roughly saying it might only then charge up to 80%. So 3,500 charges, full charges, are a number of decades, I would imagine. If you're using it every day, you know, maybe a couple of decades, and if you're using it once every weekend, it's probably the only battery pack you will ever need in your life. How do you charge it? Did I mention it was quite heavy? So on the back here, there's a little panel. Sadly, the little panel broke off the second time I opened it. And on this little panel is your mains connection for charging it. It's basically got 3 charge modes. One is mute, and therefore it won't run the fans. So it's quite a low charge rate at around about 400 watts. Then there's standard, which is a kilowatt, and then there's fast charge. You've got a safety cutoff little sort of thing there that if it detects a fault, it'll pop out and reset. You've got to put it back in. So a little breaker on the back that helps protect itself and you for faulty appliances or faulty electrical connections or something like that. You've then got a 12 volt and solar power connector, which is the XT60. So you can charge it from a 12 volt vehicle as you're driving, or you can plug in a solar panel. So yeah, like a fold-in solar panel, which they also provided for a review, which was a 400 watt solar panel. And that did in fact do well over 400 watts when it was really sunny. So yeah, it did actually get it from sort of 75% to 80 something percent in just a couple of hours, which, considering the battery size and only 400 watts, is quite an achievement, I thought. So yeah, pretty decent connection options for charging. And then these bottom two connections there are to expand the battery capacity. So you can get expansion batteries on here, up to 6 of them connected this way. Blew my mind when I looked at it. I was like, why would you ever need that much power? Considering it's only got a 2,500 watt inverter. So you can't run, like, you know, sort of like your housing estate off it because of the inverter size. However, you could run one oven in the housing estate with all the expansion packs for probably about a month, you know, because you're extending the battery capacity rather than its internal power of you know, what it can charge or what power it can supply over mains. The only thing I would say is on the front you've got those lovely dust connection covers, whereas on the back, like I say, it was just this really flimsy sort of cover, and then you've got no protection. So yeah, whilst these are not live, obviously, those potentially are, because they're the expansion pack connections. So it would be nice to see maybe like those dust covers on the front, on the back here as well over there, to give you some sort of protection, just in case you wet, you know, you're moving it around and it's damp and you touch that. They're 48 volt connections there, so you might get a bit of a shock from that, but yeah, it would have been nice to do that. The other thing I'd note as well is that connection on the model I've got is actually on the front. So where I would put this, if this was mine, where I would stow it in the van, is kind of underneath the bed, out of the way, because like I say, I can control everything from the app, which you can connect to via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. Pretty good app as well. You can control everything, turn you know, the outputs on and off and the inputs on and off, that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. Via the app as well, you can change between the low charge mode, the standard charge mode, and the high fast charge mode as well. So putting that on the back is a bit inconvenient just for me personally, but that's just obviously the difference I've noticed between the one that I've got and the one that they've sent to review. The other thing as well, the handles, they're really good handles. You know, you get a good grip on that. Like I say, it is a hefty, chunky beast, so you do need to get a good grip on it. It does weigh an awful lot more than the S2000 that I've got. It's probably double the weight, which means, you know, you do notice when you lift it around. And the handles on mine I use to strap it down. So if you are going to use this, you know, in a vehicle, or you're going to carry it around a lot, you'll want to strap it down. And yeah, you can't, because there's no sort of hole at the top of the handle. So that's another little bit of a thing. If it was me, I would change that configuration so you could strap it down. I would put that on the front to make it easier to connect to, and I would make safer covers for that rather than having a flimsy plastic panel on the back. But yeah, they're thinking about things, aren't they? They're really going out of the box now, so using the latest technology, trying to squeeze more power into the box, giving you options of all sorts of different connectivity, including 100 watt USB-C. Far more information on the front screen as well than there used to be. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth options on the app, so you can connect to it remotely. If this can see a Wi-Fi router, then it will give you the option to control it remotely. Say, you know, switching some of these on and off when you need to, or just checking on its state of charge whilst you're away. And yeah, I think that's quite cool. Like I say, with the LiFi battery, you're going to get years of use out of it. And obviously it's slightly more economical to manage and things like that as well. So better to charge, better to discharge than the older model that I've got. So yeah, that is my first look and first impressions of the Allpowers R2500. You know, if you are in the business of checking out a battery that's got all sorts of options on it, that's great now, and the connections on the back to expand it in the future, then yeah, check this out. It's around about £1,600 for this system. Right, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. See you later, folks. Bye.